Welcome back. The Trump administration is appealing a judge's decision to block ICE operations in Southern California. A federal judge there issuing a temporary restraining order against ICE after a lawsuit was filed accusing the agency of using unconstitutional tactics through its immigration enforcement. The order prevents ICE from carrying out temporary detainment in the Central District of California unless agents have reasonable suspicion beyond the race, ethnicity, or occupation of the illegal currently entering the country. Now, within the hour, the ACLU responding, asking the court to deny the administration's requests. Well, Border Czar Tom Homan, he was pressed on this standard, reasonable suspicion, and he set the record straight when it comes to illegal immigration enforcement.
What about an individual's physical appearance would give immigration agents, quote, reasonable suspicion that they might be in the U.S. illegally?
Well, first of all, let me be clear. Physical description can't be the sole factor to give you reasonable suspicion. As I said in an interview, it's articulable facts with an S. So appearance can be just one. For instance, if someone has an MS-13 tattoo on their face, that may be one factor to add to other factors to raise reasonable suspicion.
All right, joining me now is immigration attorney Saman Nassiri. Saman, I know you just heard that clip. You probably saw the back and forth with Tom Homan there on CNN. I want to take what is an attempt at a false narrative, one that has been bought, by the way, by a California judge, and put it into proper context and proper legal context. Okay, Saman? So first of all, here's the picture they're painting. ICE is racist. They're looking around for Latinos, and they're rounding them up and shipping them out. And the argument that Homan makes, correct me if I'm wrong, is appearance is one element of several elements necessary for an officer to arrive at the legal standard of reasonable suspicion. Is that fair?
Yeah, so that is what Homan is saying. And the truth is courts have long held that appearance alone cannot be the standard used by ICE officers to go and make these arrests. There has to be totality of the circumstances, where they are, where they're making the arrest, what other facts that they have. I've even won cases where ICE officers have done it based on language and appearance, based on a neighborhood where just people who are undocumented happen to live in this neighborhood, and that's not even enough. So the facts need to be there.
Okay, and then we're not conducting a legal seminar here, you and I together, but it's important because I do think the media mixes this stuff up into a soup of confusion for people. So when a police officer pulls you or I over, they usually need probable cause, or at least when they search our house or arrest us, they need probable cause. But in order to detain me, stop me, question me, they only need reasonable suspicion. It's a lower standard, the court says. And that standard is what? Help us understand reasonable suspicion.
Yeah, so for reasonable suspicion, when it comes to immigration, and that's such a shaky standard for immigration, right? Because you're saying you can't use looks, you can't use appearances, you can't use location, you can't use employment. So now you got to start pointing to other facts that would make someone believe that that person would be here illegally in the United States. It could be whether they're at a port of entry. It could be if they're close to a port of entry. It could be, as Homan described, with tattoos on his face that could indicate something otherwise. But they need to be clear and articulable facts that would show what that reasonable suspicion is to justify that detention, no matter how short.
Okay, and now, quickly here, this is Senator Alex Padilla of California. Take his spin on all of this. Watch, Saman.
If I was outside a Home Depot, because I like to do some work around the house, not dressed in a suit, would I be a target of ICE enforcement under Tom Homan? Probably. And it's just wrong. It's not just due process rights that have become the concern, but racial profiling. When federal agents involved in immigration enforcement are using racial profiling, they're not enforcing the law, they are breaking it.
And I basically asked him about that. He said that he's being misunderstood, that it's factors with an S and not a factor like the way somebody looks or the way they talk.
Yeah, but he laid out the factors that he's encouraging them to consider. Again, it is appearance, it's accents, it's occupation. Again, construction workers, farm workers, you name it, the evidence is out there.
Okay, so Saman, that's the soup of confusion I'm talking about. So is he correct, Senator Padilla?
No, I don't agree with Senator Padilla. I think that he's taking things too far and making an overgeneralization here of what is actually happening. And I think by using himself as the example there, it helps with that overgeneralization and does unfortunately cause more fear and even more misunderstanding of how the laws are supposed to be applied.
I think so, too. All right. Thank you so much. That was a great conversation.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.